All right, and thanks for checking in with us here. So today we're going to be looking at I believe it's pronounced Gikfun DIY SMD SMT Welding Practice Skill Kit. Gikfun, or Gikfun, spelled Gikfun. So this is a DIY SMD soldering kit, which is actually really great for those of you who are looking to practice your SMD soldering skills. Only problem with this kit that I really have is that there's not very many great instructions out there. WayinTop also makes a similar, well, in fact the circuit's exactly the same kit. The practice board layout is just a little different. The only main difference in that board is that it is blue rather than red. But if you have one of those, you can follow these instructions for that board exactly, and it will work for you for both boards. So that's good to know. So if you're struggling to find instructions, you can use these instructions for both the Gikfun board, which is the red one, or the WayinTop blue SMD Welding Practice Skill Kit. With the one we're looking at here, they do include some instructions for you. They are in Japanese. I've heard a lot of people kind of complain about that. One thing you can do, I personally have an Android phone. If I use my Bixby Vision, I can hover that over these Chinese instructions and it will translate them for you, and it does a pretty good job of that. However, the way I figured this out was really just by quantity of components. So to figure out what components I had, I would count how many I have and then compare them on the list. So anyhow, so this board does work. Everything's together and everything works just fine. So we'll just kind of run through real quick here the order I assembled things, in what order I think is a good way to go. And this should help you kind of hash out what components go where, so that you know you're assembling this in the correct way. Excuse me. So where I started was down here, D12 through D15, the IN4148, and so that's the four little these little guys in here, and you'll notice they do excuse me, have a black band on them, which I got some fuzz in here from my Q-tip. I was just trying to clean up some flux. Anyhow, they have these black bands, and that's the negative pole, so that's going to go up in this case on the negative side through there. So there's four of those to install at D12, D13, D14, and D15. Next, I did U1 and U2 at U1. Excuse me, I'm frog in my throat. At U1, you have the NE555, or the triple nickel, and that goes in there at U1. You'll notice that on these you have lines here, and it's a little hard to see in this, but there's a little dot right here that's going to correspond with the notch on the PCB. And then same thing with this one here, the line and the dot will correspond with the notch at U2 in the PCB. So there at U2, you'll have that CD 40117BM. So that's what I did next at U1 and U2. And again, on the WayinTop board that's blue, the layout is just a little bit different. Not exactly the same but they're all labeled with the same numbers and identifiers, so it's pretty easy to piece this together if you're wanting to use these instructions for that. Next, I moved over to R48, which you'll find right here. R48 and then R61 through 64 are all these resistor chips with 103. They're labeled 103. It's a 10K resistor. So again, you'll want to get those in at R48, R61, R62, R63, and R64. Again, those are all labeled 103. Next, I moved to C27, C28. Those are the 0.1 UF capacitors, and again, I've got those in at C27 and C28. And this is another way that the WayinTop board varies that's blue. Rather than having them side by side, if memory serves me, they were stacked one on top of the other, but still labeled the same. So it should be easy enough to hash out. And then we have a D1, which is right smack in the center of the board. I put my first LED, and that again is at D1, and then all the way around the board here, starting on the right side, you have this ring of LEDs, so they skip every spot. D2, and then D3, D4, D5, D6. Get this back this way. D7, D8, D9, D10, D11. So those excuse me, those LEDs ring all the way around that board. So again, I started with D1 and then went all the way around. After that, you've got 4 LEDs left that go in the corners, starting with D16. You've got those in all 4 corners. There's D17. Then down at the bottom, you've got D18. And then the last one there at D19. And you'll be all done at that point with the LEDs. Then we started over here with R50. Get that in the center of the screen for you. At R50 is another resistor labeled 471. So this is the one that you're going to be putting in the most. It starts there at R50, and then it rings again like the LEDs, rings all the way around this board. Again, we start with R50, and then back here R51, R52, R53, R54, upside down there, but R55, R56, R57, R58, R59, and finally R60. So those resistors labeled 471, those will ring the entire circle just like the LEDs do. Then at Q1 through Q4, 4 corners, just like the LEDs up in your 4 corners, we have these guys here. They're labeled J34. They're a little 3-prong, and so you'll be able to find those pretty easy. J34, and again, all 4 corners on those as well. That's Q1, Q2, Q3, and Q4. So all 4 corners for those guys. And then the only thing left over to do is R49. We have this resistor labeled 205. So you get that guy in, and after that, that's really it. You'll be all set. There is a bunch of other stuff to solder and mess with on this board. However, none of it is a connected circuit. It's all just practice stuff. So feel free to solder away over here once you get your other parts in. It's a good way to practice. So you got all that room for that, but that has nothing to do with the main circuit over here. It's all just this stuff that operates that circuit. And if you've done this right, you should get this this D1 should rapidly flash. These LEDs in the four corners should flash a bit slower, and then the LEDs that ring the center will go around and around like a clock. So if you've done it right, all your LEDs will light up, and that's what you should be looking for. So I hope that helps some of you guys who have been struggling to find instructions for this board. Again, it's a great way to practice some of your SMD soldering skills. If you guys have any questions about this, feel free to shoot me a message, and I'll do my best to get back to you and answer those questions for you. And we're going to be posting a lot more stuff here on this channel, Ben the Builder. So please subscribe and put a like on this video. I hope you have a nice day. Thanks, guys.